Duffy. Hello, hello! Welcome to yet another episode. Today, we're shying away from our regex. We went a bit crazy and a little bit overboard. But that's good, that's good. That's fine. We learned a lot of things. A lot of new things. So what do I need to change? I need to validate emails. And we don't even need to do a regex. We could just use contains, now that I think about it. Oh, it includes. I always think contains. I don't want to even look at my regex now because it just upsets me a little bit. Where did it even go? There it is. And why was I using this again? I think it was literally for the validation, I think. Under one of the roots. Yeah, it was this one. Okay, so password valid we have. I'm not too worried about that. Alright, I said I'm gonna use includes, didn't I? Okay, so we do something very simple. Function is email valid user email. I'm gonna just copy this basically. Try response equal to email. So where'd password come from? Alright, so we're gonna do user email, was it dot includes? The at. So as long as it has an at symbol, that's all we care about. If it has an at symbol, we can likely assume it's valid, because as we've seen testing regex stuff, it's just, there's too many things to check for, and you also become very restrictive. There might very well be, actually, now that I think about it, we can end up using our regex to at least not limit the user, not prevent them from registering, but at least, you know, throwing a warning like, hey, this kind of doesn't seem valid. Are you sure it's valid? And then the user can go and be like, oh yeah, you're right. Actually, I missed something. So there's still hope for our regex that we spend hours on. There's still hope for that. That's good. because ours matches the majority of things. Did I end up changing it even more so? I can't remember. Let's fire up regex, regex 101. Let's also look at Wikipedia on email address. They had some examples of what was and wasn't valid. Okay, so these are all valid email addresses. I think we matched most of these, if I remember correctly. Hold on, let me clean this up because there's some white spaces in there. There we go. Bring this back in there, sweet. And I don't know if this was the latest one. Let's just check. Set it up to JavaScript. Yeah. That seems to be the one. Okay, so if I attach that along with fully qualified domain name, was it this one? I think it was this one. Yeah, I think it was. So let's see, if I append this to it, does it still pick up the majority of these? It does, except for the local one, but that's fine. We don't care because anyway, this is not going to be permissive in the sense of, well, it's not going to block the user, essentially. It'll just be, it will throw a warning. So we match all of these, it won't throw a warning. This one is kind of unusual because it's for local servers. So, and I mean, it's not a big deal. Again, it's not going to stop the user. It's just going to be like, you know, display a non-intrusive pop-up somewhere, or not a pop-up, just, you know, or display something like a little tooltip as you're typing it or something, or when you're done typing it, you move on. And they just have the user confirm. And if they say it's all good, then we're going to trust the user. Yeah, so I'm happy with that, and that seems to work fine. And this will match those special character domain. There was something about it, I can't remember what. But I'm happy with it as it is. Cool. Cool, I'm pretty happy with the fully qualified domain name. I'll leave that as is. What about email? There's something about email. So that's email. That's a local domain email that we had. Why doesn't that look anything like our latest one? Oh, because it's not. It's gone through a bit of a... Oh geez, this... Oh god, it's massive. It's massive. Oh dear. I don't think I'm even gonna bother like trying to like document it. Maybe at some other point when I'm bored. Which I don't think's ever gonna happen because there's so many other things to do. I mean, I know I kind of should document it, but there's just so much going on. It's fine. Might as well add a to-do here. Split regex into sections and document them accordingly as per the fully qualified domain name regex. There we go. And we kind of need to import these now if we want a fully qualified domain name. So let us what do we need? We need subdomain, domain, and top level domain. So subdomain, domain, top level domain require where are we? Fully qualified domain name. There we go. And I am exporting those three, aren't I? Yes, I am. We can't append a fully qualified domain name. Well, we can't append this because it's a new regex, so it doesn't work that way. But if we take it in this form without it being a new regex, then we can just access the source property, which then allows us to basically put together a single regex from multiple regexes. So the fully qualified domain name will be local domain email dot source Wait, I wonder if I can get the fully qualified domain name. Can I access the source from the regexp? Maybe I can. Then I only need to import fully qualified domain name. Let's try it. Then all I have to do is import fully qualified domain name dot source. Then it's local domain email dot source plus fully qualified domain name dot source, and we also have to turn it into a new regexp. Do something like that. And then we're going to export the fully qualified domain address. That's the only one I should need. Wait, what's email and local domain email? Why do I have two? I guess I renamed it. Probably. There we go. Local domain email, fully qualified domain email. And then let's rename email to fully qualified domain address. And then we need to import that into is email valid. And then I don't have to use the includes actually. Now, if we're going to use this, which will cover most cases, then we can just test. So we do user, well, yeah, we have to import it now, don't we? Helpers, regex, username, password. Oh man, that's going to be long. Fully qualified domain address email, and then in is email valid we do email dot test the user email. So we test the user email and we go email user email email valid email dot test user email bang bang response resolve not response, otherwise catch error is email valid error dot message reject error dot message. Great, is email valid is ready for duty. And then we can do if not. Oh no, the complexity went up. What do we do? Is it really that complex? We can, oh, so we can have a bunch of thens, but we can't have a bunch of ifs. I guess you don't want to keep chaining them. Must be a better way we can do this, but for now I'm gonna do a little cheeky method and bump up the complexity threshold. I think it's on like 6 now, or 5. We're gonna bump it up to 6. We're gonna allow ourselves to have a max complexity of 6. So if I were to add one more if block now, it would complain. So we're fine on 6. Just because I don't want to see red, and I really don't want to rewrite this. And I mean, a bunch of ifs aren't going to hurt anyone. I wonder what logic we would use otherwise if we don't use an if, because we need to run different things in order. And I know we could have this inside of the other functions, but I kind of wanted one single validate function, which then gets called by inside our other function. Lynn, hey, how are you doing? Good to see you back. How'd your project go? Is email valid? Email invalid. the email address you have entered. Actually, we don't want to tell them it's not valid. We just want to basically be like, hey, I think that's kind of a good message. Heads up, the email address you entered seems to differ from the usual. Just checking to ensure you are sure it is correct. Okay, cool. So, let's go take that out for a spin, shall we? So, where are we now? Where's our project? Projects. Start up in here. PM2 start ecosystem.config.js. There we go. Ooh, we seem to have an error somewhere. What seems to be the problem? There's a lot of errors in here. The latest error is unexpected token in models user.js. I mean, that seems valid. Wait, what's the latest error? Let's wait for it. Attempting to connect to the database. Oh, this was old. Oh, hold on. Invalid or unexpected token. Oh, it's complaining about this. Unterminated comment. Didn't we? Is it because it's quotes inside of it? Probably. Do that. Why is it complaining? Hold on. Where's this insert toggle block comment? Oh, I have it the same. Hold on, I messed up. There you go. That's a bit better. I actually want to test if this works as well. I need to know what this is. So we have access to fully qualified domain address, which we logged as email. Then what I want to do is on here where it says email, is email valid? I want to console.log email. I want to know what email is. Email regex email. There we go. And then clear out all the errors. Alright. Password valid, bang bang. Username invalid. Right, so remove that, keep that there, and try again. It should complain that the user exists already. Wait, it's taking a bit longer than usual. Wait, that's strange. Is there any errors? No, there isn't an error. Is it still online? Yeah, it is online. We seem to have hit an infinite loop of sorts. Very strange. It's like it's not processing further. And why would that be? So it's not getting in there. It definitely gets here, but it doesn't get here. Oh, interesting. But then why is our catch not working? It should have catched that error. Because we're calling is email valid. Oh, I'm literally calling a function, but I'm not even giving it anything. That's so weird. We didn't even get an error. We should have gotten an error for that. But it's okay. It's just a little mess up that we made. So we can do email valid equal to await is email valid. And we need to pass in user.email. And then we check on this variable if not email valid. There we go. Okay, we should be good now. Heads up, the email address you entered seems to differ from the usual. Just checking if you believe it is correct. Email appears invalid. Was that supposed to trigger though? Wait, let's also check what the regex is now. The regex is... yeah... kinda looks... ah, there we are. At undefined. So it's undefined there. So no wonder it would be invalid. Hold on, so fully qualified domain address is local domain email.source and fully qualified domain name.source. So it seems we can't quite get the source from fully qualified domain name. Not a problem. So then we switch to 2, which is importing these 3. And we're just going to destructure. And then we're going to use them. Unfortunately. Dot source and dot source. And then let's just remember to plus them in. There we go. Cool. So that should be that. Throw these errors out of the window. And let's try it again. Shouldn't complain about the email address now, I don't think. Okay, but now it's taking a bit longer. Did we hit another loop somewhere? What's the output now? This one should be fine. Let's see, is it still undefined? No, it's not undefined. Perfect. Okay. So that's okay. So we can't get source from an actual regex object. Is this the entire thing? 1, 2, yeah, it is. Weird. It looks. Well, I guess it's way shorter compared to our local email address supporting all those characters. Jesus. Email test@test.com, email valid, true. Haha. But now my issue is, what is happening here? Like we're stuck in a loop. Is the user taken? 22 JMR, I can't even remember anymore. If I try to load it again, like, what's going on? We don't get an error? We don't know what's going on. Await, does user exist? If user exists, user exists. Now my issue is this should have triggered the use. I think the user exists at least. Let's go check our database. Maybe the user doesn't exist. Maybe the user is hiding from us. Let's see. Where? Atlas. Sign in. Whoa, that was weird. I only saw your message now, Lynn. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate that. Are you resolving a promise in the functions where you're using await? Yeah, I am. God, I wish my eyes wouldn't feel so heavy. Like, I don't feel tired, but my eyes are just like...
SCH3LPSC2 is supporting the family with 3 viewers.
Hey! What's that? Shields? Thank you so much for the host. I appreciate that. How are you doing? It's really awesome of you. Thank you. I just want to see if that user exists in the database first before I check anything else. It was one of the JMARs, wasn't it? Was it 22 JMAR? 22 JMAR 777, I think it was. Let's see, 22 JMAR, yeah. Okay, so the user does exist in the database. And I don't think we got to that. Oh, it timed out. Wait, hold on. Am I having DNS issues again? I'm just gonna keep logging. Query serve timeout. That's new. I've never seen that before. And that was 1706. That was now. Huh. Wonder what happened. Something wrong with our database. That's probably why, because I can't run the query on the database. Let me see if there's something on the host. Maybe there's a message or something. Host has restarted, but that was on the 26th. It's not that. And let me make sure the network access is fine. Yeah, network access is fine. What is going on? Maybe I should move to a different region. Frankfurt, you're not being too kind to me today. It's like I'm stuck in an infinite loop. It can't connect the data. Yeah, there you go. Server timeout. Error. Query, server timeout. Why did it return it as an object though? Oh, that's a promise that it was returning. Server timeout. I am gonna have to contact Atlas real quick and just ask them, hey, what's up? Because I see no issues. In-app chat support, yay. Let's see, how do I contact them? Whoa, so I have to upgrade to a developer premium to get support. Of course, they gotta sell their product somehow, huh? Okay, let me see if I can just get in touch with them real quick. Fun times! Wow. Yeah, it's still timing out. At least we know that our logging is working. That's really cool. Crucial in these times. But I just want to see if I can figure out what's going on here. Because without that, we can't really do much, unfortunately. Ah, there we go. Cool. Found their live chat, finally. One of my trackers blocked it. Let me just log the error for them. Okay, someone read the message, that's good. In the meantime, let's do something else. What can we do? What do we need to do? Once I get email validation working, well, we can't really test it until I can connect to the database, but until then, what can we do? There was something else I needed to do. Oh, right, it was implementing account locking. If you try to connect to the... Wait, does this mean I can't log in to the site either? If I try to go to auth, does that mean it's not going to be able to authenticate? Oh yeah, I can't log in. Oh, that's funny. Well, not funny, sad, but you know. Oh, damn it. I thought I got a response from support. It was just a bot. Good bot. Okay, so how are we going to implement account locking? So we have to add something to our user schema. Username, password, login attempts. Oh, you can set defaults too. That's cool. Lock until, and there's a number. So I'm going to go ahead and add these properties to our user schema. Right over here. Login attempts. That's cool. Lock until. Great. Oh, I heard something. Is that a real person? Can you send me your connection string, please? Obscuring your password. Sure can. Let's look at the clusters real quick. I mean, why can't he see that? It is inside of our config file. Where's our config file? There it is. Connection string. There it is. It's quite cool that they respond. They typically respond in hours, so I got lucky there. Let's continue while we wait for Noah to get back to us. So we added that. Defining failed login reasons. In order to satisfy our third request, we'll need some way to represent why a login attempt has failed. The specified user was not found in the database. The provided password was incorrect. The maximum number of login attempts has been exceeded. Right. Any other reason for a failed login will simply be an error scenario. To describe these reasons, we're going to kick it old school with faux enum. User schema.statics.failed login. Is that a way how you can access a variable? Well, a property? Not found is 0. Oh, enums. 1, password incorrect. 2, max attempts. Please note that it is almost about it. Yeah, almost always. So let's go ahead and stick that over here. So we've got user schema.statics.failed login equal to not found. So not found is 0, password incorrect 1, max attempts 2. Encapsulating the login process. Lastly, let's make life easy on the consuming code base by encapsulating the whole login process. Given that our security requirements have become much more sophisticated, we'll allow external code to interact through a single user.getAuthenticated static method. This method will operate as follows. User.getAuthenticated accepts a username, a password, and a callback. If the provider credentials are valid, then the matching user is passed to the callback. If the provider credentials are invalid, or maximum login attempts has been reached, then null is returned instead of the user. Oh, we can just connect that with what we have in password. We'll also be adding a new helper method called user.increment, I guess, inc login attempts. And a virtual property user is locked to help us out internally. Because our user model is starting to get somewhat large, I'm just going to jump straight to the end result with everything included. Okay, this pretty much looks the same as ours. Max login attempts we need to define. So I guess we can do 5. Lock time. Okay, so that's how long we're gonna lock a user for. So how long is that? That's 2, I assume, in milliseconds. So 2 times 60, that's 120 times 60 times 1,000? Oh, right. So 2 hours. Because 1,000 is milliseconds. So all of this is in milliseconds, right? So yeah, if you fail to log in for more than 5 times, you'll be locked out for 2 hours. $2 in milliseconds. Where's our package? Did we add these? Yeah, we did. User schema.virtual. What is virtual? I want to see what virtual is. Where's virtual? So virtuals are document properties that you can get and set, but that do not get persisted on to MongoDB. Huh. Oh, that's cool. So it's okay. Let's turn this into an arrow function. What are you complaining about? Expect no line break. Oh. This dot lock until. Wait, what would this be? Would that still work? I wonder. I don't know if this is gonna work. Because this in an arrow function. I mean, we can try. Am I still unable to connect to the database? Oh wait, now it's succeeded. I don't know if they sorted something out or what. Okay, so it seems our database connection has been restored. Let's enter an incorrect email address. Haha! Sweet! Let me update the string because apparently they gave me an updated string. Jesus, it's long. Gonna remove that. It's connecting on the shards now as well. Let's give that a try. Code spend, no way!
CodeSpin is rating our family with 8 viewers.
Hey,
2
welcome
arms.
to the channel. Thank you so much for the raid. How are you doing? And how are the rest of you guys doing?
CodeSpin is following the family.
Code spend, thank you so much for that follow. I'm gonna go and drop you a follow now as well. Yeah, so what you guys been up to? What you been... Yeah, there's alerts, right? It's good to know. The amount of times, like, something has happened on someone else's channel. Oh, hold on. I'm not logged into Twitch there. Let me just go drop you a follow in the meantime. There we go. Done. Perfect. How's it coming along? It's coming. I added some validation. After spending 12 hours struggling with the perfect email regex. You can see here, this is my super long regex. Where is it? That pretty much matches all but a local email address. Yeah. Went a bit crazy and overboard, and then I came to the conclusion that there is no perfect email regex, and it's best to actually just use it as a utility to inform the user that, you know, kind of what I did here. Heads up, the email address you entered seems to differ from the usual. Just checking if you believe it is correct. So instead of being like, nope, your email address is invalid, you're not getting in here, we're just gonna, you know, confirm with the user, and maybe they'll pick something up. Maybe we're like, oh, hold on, that's wrong. And if not, well, you know, the onus is on them. So yeah, that was pretty much done. I'm basically trying to create a backend login system using passport.js and express sessions. Managed to get that working. Got basic validation in place, username, password, email. Adding brute force login protection now. Lock out to user for about 2 hours if they incorrectly log in. And then, yeah, from there, hopefully I get to work with the front end. Start doing some project in React. For this one, actually. So many variables and weird edge cases. You have no idea. There was literally an email address. I don't know if I can pull it up here. I have it as one of my links. Let me see. Was it this one? Let me pull it up real quick. Ask here. I think I got the link. And this is all from today. Ah, there it is. Found it. So there's someone who actually had an email address. Must be to troll you. This is actually valid, believe it or not. Yeah, this is 100% valid because it's in quotation marks, so you can have these special characters. They can be separated by dots as long as they're all connected. And this should match. Now, you'll notice this entire list, I've matched about, what's that, like 98% of all email addresses. And then I eventually gave up and I was like, you know what? This is actually freaking pointless. I learned something new. Regex is fun, but I'm not going to waste any more time on this. And instead of trying to make it permissive and reject users, I'll just use it as, like I said, a way to just flag the system that there might potentially be an issue. And yeah, as to why was I doing this, I guess to learn why I do everything, to try and broaden my knowledge and work on things that I haven't worked on before. And as for using a library or something, I guess that would defeat the purpose of learning because it's already been done for you, so you don't get, you know, the ability to actually struggle and troubleshoot and problem solve. And yeah, also I checked out a bunch of other regexes, and also a lot of them were inconclusive and couldn't solve the issue. There was actually one that claimed to be 99.9% accurate. I don't know if I can find it. It was 99. What was it? There was a regex email. There was someone like, oh yeah, it was this one. So I can copy their regex and you'll see a lot of cases. So here's the JavaScript one. And then if I drop it in here, replace mine with it. Just trying to match from the beginning. Hold on, I need to turn multi-line, and there you go. As you can see, it fails quite a few of the ones that mine matches. Like mine only doesn't match these two, and the one that claims to be 99.9% working, I think this is a bit less than 99.9%. So yeah, definitely not something you can utilize a full regex solution for. Same with the reason I'm writing my own auth backend to extend Django's. I learned more about the backend process with Django and I have custom use cases. I'm no longer bound by the methods of doing things. Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to have it that way. Then you also know how things are working. And even if it's done before, like you said, the knowledge of knowing how may help you somewhere down the line. Even if it's just to be able to troubleshoot the system, if you know how it works intimately, then you know exactly what's going on, which is fun. And yeah, like you said, there have been a lot of times where you get limited by using a specific framework or tool or library or whatever, and you want to do something but you can't, and I think that's the worst feeling. So being able to extend them is definitely the way to go. But I'd never trust myself in that case to use a security solution. Well, I mean, how else are you going to learn if you don't do it, you know? You make a mistake, you make a oopsie. I mean, even massive corporations, like we're speaking about regex now, and I'm sure you heard about the Cloudflare outage that was caused by a single regex. So, I mean, it happens to the best of them. So I wouldn't really base it off of, you know, lack of trust in yourself. You need to start somewhere. Everyone started somewhere, and no matter how good you are, you're gonna make a mistake somewhere down the line. It's just a matter of how you end up recovering from it and what you end up learning from it, you know. Like I feel personally it would be boring if I didn't make mistakes and run into issues, because you know, I wouldn't learn anything. It's not exciting if you can't have that thrill of the, oh shit, something broke, I need to fix it, especially if a lot of people are counting on you. I would not like to be in the pants of that person who wrote the regex though. Oh man. Okay, so we got the max login attempts, we got the lockout time, so that'll lock a user out for 2 hours. We got a isLocked state, and then like I said, I don't think that this is going to work in this context because of arrow functions and the way they treat this. So this might have to be a normal function unless I bind it. I have to see. And the beauty with Django, you can extend the existing auth backend rather than writing from scratch. Plus, if you're referencing the existing, you just chuck out what they wrote and make sure your code is going through similar stages. That's cool. Yeah. From what I remember, isn't Django... That's the framework, right? Similar to, what was it, Joomla and WordPress and stuff? Or am I thinking of something else now? And regarding Django, yeah, so it's not insecure by any means. It just allows me to accept auth from, say, Twitch rather than creating users manually or making custom models. Yep, back in the ORM. Right. Nice, yeah. I've been using Passport for a lot of the auth stuff, and it's absolutely amazing. Like, really simple to use and set up compared to all the other things I looked at. Where's my Passport? Yeah, I literally just have to initialize and start the session, and then in session I store the session in a Mongo store using the Mongoose connection, and then Passport will basically attach itself to this. And if you're logged in, I can actually show you now that the database is working. You'll see here I have no cookies, right? No cookies whatsoever. So if we go to auth, you get a login page, some random name, don't ask me. I'll be logged in and you'll notice a session gets created, right? And this persists, so I can restart the server, very important. Because let's say your server goes down briefly, you have to update a maintenance, and when it comes back on, everyone that's accessing the site is going to have to relog because the session wasn't saved. And yeah, you can imagine what a headache that would be in the load on the server. So I store the session in the database, so when the server reconnects, it just compares it to that. And if you were to log out, or if your cookie gets expired, you'll notice here it gets deleted. Boom, session's gone. So now if I try to go to a page like auth success, it forces me to log back in. And on login, it just redirects me back to the home page. And this is all done with Passport, which is really cool. And if I go to success, you can see the new data now. User value, login attempts. Yeah. That's basically what I wrote. Unfortunately, most drop-in solutions like that for Python aren't great or well maintained. That's a pity. That I found, I should say. There's a ton out there I don't know about. Need to make a Passport Pi? Would it be PY? Because Passport J is Passport Pi. Passport P. Sounds cool. So using library. Well, for some parts, yeah. I was referring to the regex. You were asking me specifically why I was doing it that specific way for the email addresses. I mean, regex works, it's simple enough. Just check if it matches, and then we can inform the user. And I was, yeah, so let me check the rest of this now. So what do we need to do? We have the virtual, but I don't think that's going to work like I said. So on pre-save, we already got that. We're generating the salt. We're doing all that. Great. Compare password. Increment login attempts. When does this get called? And why are we calling a callback? I hate callbacks. I want to use promises, so I need to see how I'm going to update this. Login attempts 1. If this dot login attempts plus 1 greater than or equal to max login attempts, and this is locked, lock until date.now plus lock time, return this, update. So this is probably going to be returned to Passport, I think. Oh man, it's getting very complicated fast. I can probably simplify this. So our user controller over here. Callbacks are necessary evil. Well, yeah, but just callbacks can be avoided by using promises. So much better. Expose enum provide an internal convenience reference right reasons. User schema, so we got that. Wait, object of currently defined statics on the schema. Unexpected chained assignment. Wait, why is it doing it this way? I'm confused. It's trying to store it as an object, no? Not found, 0, password incorrect, max attempts. User schema.statics.failed login. That's there. Wait, what? Did he update the... He updated that. This is how it was before. Oh, there you go. Oh man, I hate that my keyboard is again double typing. It has this issue. I just got my keyboard back now. It's Corsair. I think it was a K70. I love it. Like, it's beautiful. It works nicely. It's a mechanical keyboard and it's very quiet compared to my other one. But it has this issue where it double types keys. So you'll notice here in const, I've got a double N there, which I definitely didn't type, and it's really annoying. I'm sure you guys can imagine in programming you accidentally, like, it's hard enough if you make a mistake, but if you go and have your keyboard, man. Okay, const recents equal to user schema.statics.failed logins. Okay, so I see what he's done. So he's replaced this. Don't you hate when guides just jump all over the place? 1 minute you have this, so why even show us this if you're just gonna go and update it later on? It seems kind of pointless. Okay, so we're deleting that. Reasons. Wait, why does it keep adding this? Have the same issue on my MacBook embedded keyboard, somehow only with the B though. Yeah, it seems like weird random letters at times. Okay, so I'll probably end up redoing this because the way he's doing it is like super complicated. And I mean, these callbacks don't help, so we can like promise chain them, or actually just use async and await. So what's he trying to do here? User schema.statics.get authenticated. That is a... Didn't we add get authenticated? Oh, right. No, he's adding get authenticated, never mind, onto the static. So it's a function that'll take a callback in. So find one, we're trying to find a user in the database, but I'm not going to add an extra call to a database. I'm just going to implement this. If not user, if user, okay. I know where to implement this. Okay, I know where to implement this. If is match, check if the password was a match. Okay, let's go implement this first so long, then we'll come back. It's part of this, isn't it? So what do I have? Validate user, then response. So as long as the user is valid, username, password, email, all that's valid, then if we got an error message, return next with the response. Otherwise we can go ahead and encrypt the password. But wait, hold on, this is just for when I create a user. This is on save. This is on pre-save. Oh, because this is in the wrong place, right. Where do I have it? I think it's in passport. Let's go to our passport. That's under over here. Passport.use. if not user, incorrect username, blah blah blah. Then if we have, wait, how does he have his setup? If not user, return. Otherwise, if user is locked, right? So if not user, right, so before we get the user.validate password function, we need another check here. Check if the account is currently locked. If user is locked, why would you increment the login attempts if the account is already locked? Does that make any sense to you guys? Like, why would you increment it? It's already locked. That's strange. Like, you would have reached max login attempts of 5. That's what locked you in the first place. Why would you... I mean... So return user.increment login attempts. If there was an error, return callback error. What is a callback in this case? Oh, I think the callback in this case is done. We're returning to passport. I'm a... yeah... And also, how do we pass reasons in? How does he have reasons set? Because I have my file in a separate place. Reasons, he has reasons. Oh, from the schema, that's why. Where we saw it somewhere here, const reasons. There it is. Reasons, user schema.statics.failed login. So reasons, what was it? Reasons 2 or reasons 3? Oh no, it was reasons max attempts. Maybe is locked doesn't mean what you think it means. Maybe it's just bad naming or something. I hope for you I'm wrong. What do you think it might mean then? Hey, Flydex, how's it going? Also, do you guys know how enums work? Because reasons.max attempts, right? That means you get into reasons and you get the key max attempts. What's it gonna pass in 2? What does 0, 1, 2 mean in this context? Because if you call reasons.max attempts, it should return 2, right? So what's the point of that? Why 2? And also, if user is locked, I'm pretty sure that's what his logic was, where you lock the account. If this dot lock until and this lock until date less than now, return this dot update, set login attempts 1, unset lock until 1. It's just the object literal with key value. Okay. Oh, what made you think that the is locked is poorly worded? Because I assume it's a boolean. Wait, we can actually see it's in my schema. Let's drag this over here all the way. I should probably close some of these. We're not going to use it. User model. It's in our schema. Here. Wait, no, it's not. It was a helper function, wasn't it? It's a virtual is locked. Get this dot lock until and this dot lock until grade. Oh. It will return a boolean. It's being coerced, either true or false. So if true, so why would we increment our login attempts if we're locked out? Be right back, have to restart browser. Okay, cool. See you then, code spent. And from what I remember, we can't use this in an arrow function, can we? Yeah, we can redo this. By the time you read that, was back. That was fast. Jeez. By the time I read that, is there a delay? Because I saw that at 5:53. And it's like 5:54 now, like 1 minute ago. Or maybe it's that fast. Well, I mean, it shouldn't take you ages to restart your browser, right? Okay, so we already got our custom compare function that unsalts or unhashes the password and does all that with bcrypt. So what else does he change here? He compares the password. If the password is a match, if there's no lock or failed attempts, just return the user. If not user login attempts and not user lock until. Oh, so that means even if you somehow did manage to get the password correctly, you gotta wait for the lockout time. Cool. So I've got to add that as a condition. Reset attempts and lock info. That makes sense, because otherwise you'd end up locking yourself. What's user.update? That's a helper function, isn't it? User.update. Wait, what is user.update? User.update. Is there not an update? Return user. Oh wait, is update an internal mongoose? Wait, what is update? Because all it does is return the callback passing null on the user. I think that goes into my passport JS. Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna ignore that. Hopefully. Wait, no, but here, if the user... I'm so confused. If we return on this line, right guys? This isn't gonna run, is it, surely? Oh, but it's scoped to the if. I think it's because I get a little bit confused on a single line if. So it's gonna return out of this if statement, but it's still gonna continue down here, right? But then why are we returning the exact same thing to the callback here as well? Like, what's the point of checking if you're not logged in? I'd be afraid... Wait, hold on. Maybe it works with some different state of the user and you need to increase login attempts for that reason? I'd be afraid not to do that now. Nope, it will return out of compare password. It's a guard clause. Okay, let me put this in my editor so that we can see it in a better view. And then try to understand what's going on. It's the fun of looking at other people's code. You need to try and... Okay, so what is going on here? So if we get a match, and if the user has not exceeded their login attempts and they're not currently locked, we return the callback, which in this case is going to be returned to passport.js with the user. So that means if we logged in successfully, cool, right? But if it wasn't true, we would still get here, wouldn't we? If this if doesn't pass, we continue down here. But what if this if does pass? Do we continue down here? Because I thought a return returns out of the if statement, or is it going to return... Where's this return going to put us? It's not going to return out of the entire function, is it? You can write a little unit test for that, yeah. It should return you out of the function. Okay. So this is if we're good, we return out of the function. But then what is this if we're not good? Why is it resetting the attempts if we're good? Like, this is the part that confuses me. If we're good and we're logged in, it can't get here in the first place, can it? The return will prevent it from getting down here from what I remember, no? Oh wait, I think I get it. Is match equal to your password match, and you want to reset your login and lock attempts unsuccessful? Yeah, I get that, but this return will prevent it from ever getting down here, no? I get what it's trying to do. I'm confused by the return here. Only if you never had any failed login attempts. Oh, I get it now. Yeah, thanks for explaining that. That makes sense. So if we never had any login failed attempts, we return the user as is. Otherwise, I mean, you technically don't need this if, right? You can just reset it, but I guess it would be a waste to reset something that doesn't need to be reset. I actually wonder what the performance would be versus the readability if we did it that way. But yeah, thanks for explaining that. That makes so much more sense now. So then we update the counts, right? And then we return user.update. This is the part. What is update? Oh, it's a mongoose. Sends an update command with this document. Oh, because I'm only used to save. So update would be the equivalent of saving, but on a document that already exists. I've never used update before. And I remember updates. Oh, this is updates. That's basically what it's passing to that object. Saying, hey, update the object with set login attempts to 0 and unset lock until. That makes sense. And if there's an error, I wonder if we should return that to passport though. What would the error be? Oh no, yeah, we can. No, because they're already logged in. We shouldn't they would not be able to log in if there was an error. So this should be in a catch, I think. Catch the error and log it, right? So the way passport is set up is, if there's an error in the returns that you send it, it will not log the user in or treat it as a failed login. Now in this case, I'm wondering why you would return. So we know that you got a match. You were logged in. Your password was successful. Now it needs to reset the values on your account. But if it fails updating your account, it's going to return with an error. So maybe that should be rather handled in an error handler, because if I send that error to passport, the user won't log in. Even though they were successful, they won't log in. And if there's no error, then we return the callback null user. Because remember, they use their own callback. I'm using passport. I wonder what their callback is though. I want to see how they use this. Because what is CB? Where are they calling this? I need to see. User.getAuthenticated. Is this the callback here? Error user so it's an anonymous function. If error, throw error. If user, login successful. Wait, they're literally giving an example, but they're not even using.
SCH3LPSC2 is following the family.
Thank you so much for the follow. Even my announcer had a harder time pronouncing that. But yeah, it's been fun hanging out. You gotta go? Alright, I wish you all of the best in whatever it is you gotta do. And hopefully see you around sometime. And yeah, you're right. I think the piece of code assumes that errors will be handled outside of that function. So I'll do that. I'll have a try catch and then just catch it in there. So we got is locked. We got pre-save. Do I have increment login attempts in my model? I don't think I've added it yet. Just want to make sure, but I don't think I have. No, I haven't. Cool. Okay, what are you complaining about? Because it's an unnamed function. I know, I know. So I'm gonna try turn this into an arrow function, but I have a feeling it's gonna fail because of this. We had that issue before. Actually, yeah, this didn't work, so I'm gonna have to... Oh, it's so annoying because I really want it to be an arrow function. Let's try it. But I'm going to keep that in the forefront of knowing why it fails. Actually, I'm going to log. Like, I'm 90% sure it's going to fail, but I might be pleasantly surprised. Return this.update. So we update set login attempts 1. Okay, so I understand how that works, but what is this callback? Increment login attempts callback. This is what's confusing me because I don't see his callback. It takes a callback. Where does he use increment login? Like, I literally don't see him using it anywhere. And there's only one match. Wait, it's there too. Return user.increment login attempts function is an error? But then again, return callback. So get authenticated is a function that takes callback, username, password, callback. Where's get authenticated called? Get authenticated, there it is. Function error user reason. Okay. So reason is the callback. Error user reason. No wait, sorry, I mean the function. The function's the callback. Username, password, the callback. Username, password, callback, yeah. So it's the function that has all of that, and I think the equivalent to ours is done. Username, password, done. So ours is done. So wherever we see callback, it's done. So if error, return done, error. And if I remember correctly, null, to return a valid user, we have to return null user. The first one is an error, the second one is the user. So if we return anything in the first one, the login will fail. So if we do return done error, then yeah, we won't log in, which is what we want, obviously. So we need to return null, false, and then a message. So return error, false. What is the message? Something like account already locked, or just currently locked. Return done, null, false. And I actually want to look at passport locals use. Username, password done, so it calls done, providing a user. I want to know what the second parameter is. Ah, don't you love when 4-4s happen? Trying to see the examples. So what is this? I want to know what the true or false is on this. I just came back. What are you trying to figure out, Lynn? I am... Well, currently right now I'm trying to figure out what the second parameter in done is. I know the first one is the error. Wasn't the second one the user? The second one's the user. Oh, so if you return false, it means there's no user. There's no documentation on what they use in done. And I don't think googling done on Node is going to help me because they read it differently. But they don't specify how or what or why. Exactly. I just want to know what the parameters are. That's all I want to know. But they don't specify. Oh man. I don't want to guess though. I know that the first one is error, and according to my example, the second one is the user to return. But what are the extra parameters? Because I've seen up to 4 be used. Because you could see done error, done null false. And if there are no errors, return null on the user. I wonder why he's not returning an error here, but in the official documentation they return an error. Oh, they don't. They do null false. Wait, so what is the first parameter then? I'm so confused. I thought it was the error message. What is the first message that it expects? Because the second one is user. What is the first one? Why does it have to be null? Why is it null? The first one is the error. If it's null, then there's no error. Yeah, that makes sense. But then if there is an error, such as if not user, the user is incorrect, right? Why is it null? Shouldn't it have an error there? Why are they just returning done null? That's not an error, it just didn't find a user. Okay, I see what you mean. So if there's a database connection or something, okay, that makes sense. An error would be if something went wrong, right? So they have it in the case of... Oh, so here, where it's doing an if error, then I can return error, right? In done, error, false, and the message. Otherwise, null, false, reasons, dot max attempts. I need to fix my not my linter, but the rule here that it's complaining about. It doesn't like reasons the way it currently is. So the way I see it, it's selecting statics on user schema and then attaching to failed login an object with these key value pairs, right? But why is my linter putting, what do you call it? Brackets on them, not brackets, parentheses. Because when I save, it wants to stick parentheses on. And then secondly, it's complaining about chained assignment. How is it a chained assignment? Is it because I'm assigning reasons to a variable that's assigning an object to a variable? Why can't I just do failed login dot not found? For example, wait, max attempts. Yeah, he does it as reasons.max attempts. Wouldn't it be the same as failed login.max attempts? So in order for my linter to stop complaining, I'd probably have to do reasons equal to user schema.statics.failed login. And then I have to do reasons equal to something like that. Oh, I see what it was complaining about now, the chained assignment. Because if I do another equals, it's gonna complain about chained assignment. Wait, let me see if there's if the documentation has something for us. I understand why it's done, to prevent potential issues. Right, they do it one by one still. Okay, fine. We'll just do it that way then. Reasons equal to user schema.statics.failed login. I'm gonna rename this variable to failed login reason. Was it plural? Oh, that's cool, and then I can use my custom error handler to process this. Not found. This explains a bit more than the official documentation. Thank you, Lynn, for digging that up. I really appreciate it. Let's have a look. Oh, nice. It's got all these things too. Couldn't find done though. Yeah, but it's still helpful. Thank you. I'll keep this open for when we have to reference it. What was I busy with now? Jeez, I need to get another coffee if I'm gonna stay awake. My body's been so used to sleeping in the afternoons, working in the evenings, and last night I hadn't slept for like 28 hours, so I ended up going to bed way earlier than I normally would, like 10, 11 o'clock in the evening. So I've been up early and just constantly tired. It sucks. Oh, okay, it's complaining because I want to set that as a constant. So there you go. Let failed logins equal to users. Technically, this can be in the other one. This, because he has everything in one file. We split everything up based on usage, so it can be in our passport config. Can have it over here. Let failed login reasons equal to user schema. Oh, and then this is not user schema. This is gonna be user, if I'm not mistaken, because that'll be part of any user schema, because otherwise I have to export import failed login reason, and I'm currently not. Yeah, I think that'll be a waste. We'll see when we get everything working where everything should be. So there's failed login reason, because then I can do failed login reason dot max attempts. Well, it technically is reasons then, isn't it? I still don't get what the 2 is. If anyone can explain that. 0, 1, 2. I know they're supposed to be enums. Maybe later on we'll see why it's done that way. Okay, so what's the logic right now? If the user doesn't exist, it's an invalid user, throw this. Otherwise, if the user is locked, What does he have? If error, return callback. Otherwise, no reasons.max attempts. I don't need to return, I just need to return done error. I need to see how done works in this case, so let me just finish this all up. So done, null, false, failed login reasons.max attempts. Oh, is that what the enum is? 210. So we will get like a number, 2, and then to know what it is, we know, okay, 2 is max attempts. 1, okay, I assume that's what it is. But is that going to send it to the user? We'll see. Okay, so once that is done, if is match, this needs to now move. Return user.validate password. So if we did validate the passport because we got into here, then we need to move this into here. If not user.login attempts and not user.lock until, return done null user. Const updates equal to set login attempt 0, lockout until 1, return user dot update, updates being that, and if there's an error. If error, return done error, otherwise return done null with the user. Okay, but there's some more processing that I need to do before that. Because if not valid password, we never get here. Because of this return. So if not valid password, what was I trying to do here? Do I have an if error? That should be true or false. And it should have the user, right? So this should technically be moved up then. Over here. If not valid password value, valid password, incorrect password, return done, null, false message, incorrect password. Great. And then otherwise we move on. If not user, they haven't reached their login attempts. Return done null user. Otherwise return user.update, updates error. If error, return done null user. That should be all. We don't need this one because that's the same as that one. Whew! A lot of changes. I think that's everything. And then we need this as well. Password is incorrect. Oh, this is the most important one. That's the same one as above. Password is incorrect. So increment the login attempts before responding. This is the most important one. Shouldn't we do that first before it's valid? Because the chances are they might be invalid first. So I think I'm going to do that first. Oh, I see what they did. I see what they did. User.compare password, that's in its own chain. But because I don't have it like that, I have it as a then. So there's our response right there. If the password's not valid, so it needs to be in an if. So that needs to go there. User.increment login attempts, error, if error, return, done, error. Otherwise, return. Yeah, there we go. So if not valid password, if otherwise proceed. Cool. So I think that's all of that. And we've incorporated that now. If user is locked, we've also incorporated that. We've incorporated that too. We've incorporated that. Increment login attempts. We have that. Let me just go double check it. Ours is called max login attempts, like that. Was it lockout time? Yeah, I think it was lockout time. Max login attempts. So increment login. This is increment login attempt. Cool, cool, cool. So that's done. Compare password is the same as before. The pre-save is exactly the same. Is locked. We've added. Cool. We're done. We're ready to test. I'm gonna have to check my database for this one because I won't be able to see that data if I log in successfully. And I don't want to log in successfully, I want to test the lockout system. So who are we logging in with? The original JMAR, the one and only. Man, I really need to create my own user. It's not a priority. Okay, here's the interesting part. Our original user. Wait, let's go and reset all this. Our one and only original JMAR. Let's go and create this new user. JMAR 777, I need to delete you. Okay, so first things first, go create the new user. Okay, if I could spell user. Wait, what? What is... Okay, something's wrong. Server's down. I messed something up, didn't I? Yep. What is the issue? Failed login. Cannot read property. Failed login of undefined. What? What do you mean failed login? Unreachable code. Oh, because of the throw. Why am I throwing this? Okay, but that wasn't the issue. There was something else here that's wrong. Don't tell me it was that. It can't be that. It won't be that. There you go. Failed login of undefined at line 32. User.statics.failed login. But it's on the user schema. User schema. Wait, where's failed login? I created it though. Failed login equal to user.statics.failed login. Validate password, increment login attempts. Okay, we're calling increment login attempts. I need to see what we're passing into increment login attempts. Oh, error is the callback. Right? Yeah, error. If error, return done error. Return this.update. Wait, what? Oh, because update will... I'm assuming it's the way Mongoose returns. There, conditions, any document, and then a callback. I'm so confused, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why the callback is there. If the callback is the error. So it's gonna return this. I'm just gonna assume that's the error. I don't know why it's called callback and not error. We'll play around with it and test it and then rename things that make sense to us. But now we have another problem. User.statics.failed logins. You know we don't need this. I get why he was doing this, but it's not necessary. If we have our own error handling, it's not necessary. I just need to provide my own login. The reason. And this one is for incorrect password. There we go. Okay, so let's see what our errors have to say about us now. Okay, let's restart the server. Okay, we have an error. Missing semicolon. What? Where? Oh, incorrect password. Oh. My bad. Wait, there's something else that's wrong. Wait, what is going? Oh, it's this. Okay, it's that. That's why. Okay. Error should be fine now. Can I get the info to be over here, please? Attempting to connect to the database. That's not good. Oh god. Another error. Failed to connect to server on first connect. Authentication failed. Fun times. I wonder if it's because of the URI. That support person gave me this URI. And now it stopped working. Surprise, surprise. That is the password though. Let's go check our env file. This was the original. Maybe I didn't copy it correctly. It is retry writes ACRDB, yes it is. I wonder if I need that plus SRV in there. Because that's the only thing he's removed. But now that we've done that, we can't connect to the database. We just get an error the whole time. Failed connecting to server on first. Oh, I like this, trying different shards. That's pretty cool. But yeah, we're just failing the whole time. So I think I'm gonna have to add the plus SRV. I'm assuming that's what's messing it up. MongoDB plus SRV. Let's try that out. Kill the server. Start it up again. Maybe now it will work. Yeah, that worked. Okay, so don't wait. Oh, that's okay. That's why you needed the plus SRV. Without it, you can't have multiple. Invalid URI cannot contain multiple host names. Well, fuck. So there's the first server. Cluster, there's the cluster and the shard. Right over there. The password is correct though. There's one thing that I did remove. Let me put that back. Because I thought it's not necessary, the admin part. After the shard. Over here. Auth source admin. Let's try that. Oh, initial connection to the database succeeded. Okay, So the admin part was crucial apparently. Password is invalid. Oh, because of the stupid new requirement. Not stupid, but yeah. There needs to be a special character. Exclamation, how about that? Should create our new user now. There we go. Now we can log in with it. Jmar password 123. Okay, so we logged in. So let's go to success. So I can track that. Login attempt 0. Okay, there's our email, there's everything. I just realized something now. We're not going to be able to see what the lockout stuff is. There we go, login attempts. So I want to add some notes when a user gets cock-blocked. Just gonna put some logs here to help us. There was someplace else that I wanted in the user model. This is not gonna work, I think. I already know why. Alright, let me just think quick. Okay. I thought it through. Do we have a lock-on tool? Because why can't I see it? Yeah, we do. Why don't I see the lock-on tool? There's login attempt, username, password. I guess because it wasn't set. Values that aren't set don't get added. Because there's a default of 0. It'll probably get added when we start failing. Okay, so we're gonna log out now, and we're gonna log back in. Unauthorized, okay. Here we go. Incorrect password. This is inc login attempts. There's no this. Therefore, I don't think it incremented. Let me go check the database. But I was right. Where is our JMAR? Yeah, login attempts are still 0. Okay, so we're gonna have to undo the callback. Well, not undo the callback, but turn it into a standard function, non-error function, that's what I meant. What do we call it? What are the other ones that we have? Function, wait, what did I call my pre-save? Now this will work. Same for, there was another one. It was this one, and not validate password. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's old, hopefully. Wait, what? 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 I'm logged in. What? Oh, that's bad. Incorrect password, but I'm logged in. Wow. Wow. Good thing we're testing all this, huh? How did that even happen? That's what we're gonna find out. Where's passport? There it is. Okay, so what happens if you're not validated? If not valid password, which it's not. Wait, passport valid. Let's see what passport valid was. Passport valid false. Valid password value false. And then it should say incorrect password, which it did. And then if error, return done, error. Oh, but error has check increment login attempts. I think error returns the object. I'm willing to bet it does. I think that's what's going on and why we're getting... It's not error. Oof. Error is not what we think it is. Error is not an error. I'm willing to bet error is a user. That's bad. So the valid user, boom, we get logged in when we shouldn't be. So let's check the log. I'm willing to bet. There. Enc login return value. Null. Wait, what? It's null? Wait, what? So it's not that. It's null. If error, return done error. Otherwise, return done, null, false. It should have returned false. It should have gotten out of here. I need to see if we get there now. Because this is a bit weird. Okay, so what happened? Do we get here? We do get here, that's why. And the do we get here happens before enc login attempts return value. Wait a minute. It's getting here, that's why. Return user.validate password. This is the response. If not valid password, which it's not. I think this might be an issue again with asynchronous. Back to bite us again. Does it access the database? It does update, that's why. But does it say incrementing login attempts? I never see it say that. No, it doesn't. And when is it allowed to do that? If this.lock until and this.lock until is less than the date from now. Oh, so that means if it's expired. Right. Okay, so we're restarting at 1, and then we're unsetting lock until. And then this returns this dot update, updates in a callback. So inc login attempt should return updates, which is an object, and a callback. For inc login attempts. And let's see, inc login attempts. This is confusing. It can return updates. Let's go to auth. Get the login message. Incorrect password. This is login attempts 1. Ah, there you go. There you go. This is inc login attempts. So login attempts 1. There's the ID, there's password. Incrementing login attempts. Inc login attempts return value is null. If the user is locked, which it's not. Let me test with 2 things in there. There we go, null. So there's no error. There's a timestamp. Interesting. Okay, 1. So I'm assuming this is the response of the update. But let's check the backend directly to see if it's been increasing the increments. No, login attempts are still 1. I have no idea what it's doing. But we have an issue, first of all, and I can't seem to solve it. If the password's not valid, which it's clearly not because we get into here, user.increment login attempts, error test, and that's the callback, which is this one, return updates callback. If error, return done error. So updates. So it's still getting down here, which is what I don't get. So we know it gets into this. We know it gets here into this if. And then it returns. Oh, FlightX, hey. I'm wondering if you can assist me. It gets into this if statement. The password's not valid. And then it's supposed to return with done, null, false, and a message, right? But for some reason, it still continues down here, which eventually leads it to returning done, null with the user, which means you put any password and you log in, even if it's incorrect. My question is why? How does it still get here if it gets into this if, which should kick it out with null, false? My thought initially was maybe this is not, maybe this is asynchronous because it does updates to the database. So it's waiting for that. Because it's an outer scope, you are in a then scope right now. Oh, you mean this then? Sure, so if I return here, where does it take me? There's nowhere else for it to go, is there? Discord? Yeah, sure. Go for it. Hello, hello, good friend.
Hello. So, can you share your screen?
Yeah. Give me a moment. So where does this return to?
So the thing is, go back to 63.
Yeah.
Yeah. So line 63, you're saying, okay, when this is complete.
Yeah, when there's validate
return
password.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, with this scope, go all the way up. So you'll have it's the new local strategy.
Yeah.
No?
The find one is
no,
the one that we do then on.
Yeah, user defined.
Yeah.
So basically, what I would think.
So once it finds a user, then.
Yeah.
And then return, and then based on that. So it should exit fully, no? That was my understanding. No?
No, because you're only exiting that then, and not fully out of all the scope.
So where does it go?
unlocks.
It continues, right?
So
where else can it go? There's nothing for it.
So go up again. Where did then? Wait, this screen is fucked up. So it continues into the local strategy.
Again?
Scope block. Yeah, because you never finished that. You just finished that then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you finished the first then you finished the second then. So now you're out of that second then. And the catch. No. It's pretty easy for me if I could check via TeamViewer or something, because it's hard for me to.
Yeah, but I mean,
tell you what I would want to see. The thing is, you're not returning out of the find one scope yet, because you're still in the promise. And your return returns, I would think,
Okay,
nowhere
explain this
because
one
you
then.
didn't use any
How
variable.
how's it possible that it gets here then?
Like I said, you're still in defined one. The then is scope. You're returning out of the then scope, and that's it.
So, but this is the then scope it's referring to, right?
Yes. No,
Uh,
stop. Go back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Your then scope is already ended on 76 or 77.
No, that's not part of the then. The then is here. Look, this is a new then, which is based off validate password. Do you see that?
Oh, it's in user.inc incomplete login attempts. You're returning out of that function then.
Yeah, exactly. This one. I'm returning out of
Yeah.
here. So where does?
Yeah.
Oh, and because that's inside of an if.
Yeah.
So, oh, that's the problem. So it gets out into the if and then it just continues.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the problem because they didn't have it in an if. I have it in an if. I see what the problem is. Hey Lynn, yeah, I just figured out. So I'm returning back into the if, and then that will continue because nothing's stopping it.
Mhm.
So how do I rewrite? I need to check if the password is invalid. Then return done.
Then return.
How would
So
you do this?
now your user.incomplete login attempts return something, right?
Yeah. And then it returns into this if statement. But there's nothing for it to do, so it just continues on again.
Yeah. So return down below.
You mean here, but what would I return?
Return what's put user.incomplete login attempts in a variable, maybe.
Yeah, or what if I return this?
Try that.
I mean, if I return here, what will it do now?
Yeah, try that.
Yeah, because that should kick it out, right?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, let me try. Because this was a frustrating one to understand. It's the same person. Remember?
What?
The one that initially struggled? You were like, what is he doing? Where we got the whole login and the encryption from? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.